Thank you as well for, as I am fond of saying, the kind letters of correspondence that I've been receiving concerning the quality of the program. You will not be disappointed in today's program, ladies and gentlemen. I have 2 sticks of dynamite with me today, and I guarantee you by the end of this program, they will blow your mind away with the conversation we are going to have. Before we get into that, though, I want to kind of set the stage for today's discussion. We are on a limited schedule here because one of my guests has to hit the road. So we are going to just jump right into this thing. I'm looking at a news story here that appeared in Ynet, which, according to the latest statistics, is the biggest online news service that appears in Israel. The title of the book is, the title of the article is New Book, Arab Lobby Rules America. A new book by Mideast expert Mitchell Bard claims that the Arab lobby, headed by the Saudis, quote, has unlimited resources to try to buy what they usually cannot win on the merits of their arguments. Washington, the Arab lobby, and most particularly the Saudi lobby, one of the strongest in America, even stronger than Israel's, according to a controversial new book penned by an American expert on the Middle East. Mitchell Bard's book, Arab Lobby, was written as a sort of reference to those who warn of AIPAC's influence over Washington. Bard, who serves as executive director of the nonprofit American Israeli Cooperative Enterprise, claims that, quote, one of the most important distinguishing characteristics of the Arab lobby is that it has no popular support. While the Israeli lobby has hundreds of thousands of grassroots members, and public opinion polls consistently reveal a huge gap between support for Israel and the Arab nations, Palestinians, the Arab lobby has almost no foot soldiers or public sympathy. Its most powerful elements tend to be bureaucrats who represent only their personal views or what they believe are their institutional interests, and foreign governments that care only about their national interests, not those of the United States. Quote, what they lack in human capital in terms of American advocates, they make up for with almost unlimited resources to try to buy what they usually cannot win on the merits of their arguments. So writes Bard in his book. Now, the reason that I am bringing this up, ladies and gentlemen, those of you listening to this program no doubt got a chuckle when you heard me read the title of the article and probably the opening lines of the article itself. That only a liar or a fool or both would try not just to entertain the notion, but try to propagate the notion that the Arab lobby rules America. Okay? These days, that is tantamount to saying that the sun rises in the west and that it sets in the east. It's so upside down that it doesn't even deserve 3 seconds worth of brain energy in trying to assimilate the information. But yet there are people, unfortunately, within our own movement who will try and peddle this notion that the Arabs are actually the ones running everything. Now, I decided on this topic today, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm going to give you a heads up. Okay, there is this time bomb that is ticking out there, and it is probably going to go off sometime this week, and it involves me and a certain particular person in this movement who continuously allows his website and his radio program to be used as a bullhorn of sorts in propagating this kind of anti-Arab and anti-Islamic nonsense. He is rather prominent in this quote-unquote movement, and I have confronted him politely on several occasions, and I've said, why are you running this stuff? You know it isn't true, and even worse than that, you know that it's doing harm to what we're trying to achieve here. We've got these arsonists who have set fire to this particular building, and their desire is to use this fire to burn down the whole town. And the rest of us here are throwing buckets of water on this inferno, and you're providing buckets of gasoline. Now, this individual and I got into it earlier last week in a series of email exchanges, and I made it clear to him that my patience had run out with his willingness to basically allow himself to be an operative of sorts in providing aid and comfort to the enemy. And that's how I see it. This isn't what's known as balance, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't an issue of freedom of speech or the First Amendment. He prides himself on being a journalist, but he doesn't check his facts. He publishes things that he knows are patently false, that he knows are going to harm what we're trying to achieve within this movement. And I let him know in no uncertain terms that I don't care how big he is, I don't care how many hits his website gets, and I really don't care about making an enemy of him. I would prefer not to, but if I have to choose between making an enemy of him and standing up for my principles versus staying on friendly terms with him and keeping my mouth shut about something which I know is wrong, then I'm going to choose the former, and I'm going to elect to be on an adversarial basis with him. Anyway, I decided to do that now because I'm not going to drag my two guests in with me on this because this is my fight, and I don't expect, I'm not the kind of guy that I have to rally a bunch of people around to my side and expect them to stand with me if I've got a beef with somebody else. And that's just the way I am. God didn't grace me with a lot of money or with a lot of height, but He graced me with a big mouth, and I have elected to use it. Anyway, having gotten that out of the way, we have set the stage now for today's discussion, which is the pervading influence of the Arabs and Muslims in our society and how they are taking over everything. We are going to hell in a handbasket. My two special guests, first of which is my very good friend and colleague, and dare I say mentor, and it is Michael Collins Piper, who should not be a stranger to any of you out there. If he is a stranger to you, then you need to get your nose into some books and start reading, because I guarantee whatever you think you know, you don't know enough yet. And my second guest was here with me just a week ago today. And his name is Keith Johnson. His website is revoltoftheplebs.wordpress.com, and he has just written what can only be characterized as a brilliant new article entitled, "The Arabs Run Hollywood and I Can Prove It." Gentlemen, welcome to the program, and thank you for coming.
Well, thanks, Mark. And I want to say this is a great pleasure for me to join you here today, particularly with Keith. I have never talked to Keith until today, and I have to say there's a lot of people out there who are writing a lot of good things, but some of the things I've seen that Keith has written are some of the best things that I've seen in a long, long time.
Absolutely.
And,
yep.
He's got great insights. He's got a great sense of humor. And Keith, I just want to congratulate you for the work you've been doing because it's tremendous.
Well, thank you very much, but hopefully I don't turn out to be the other journalist that let you down in the past, Christopher Bolin, who you also talked up, but has turned out to be a real...
Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry for...
I'm not like that, I swear, Michael. I swear I'm not going to let you down.
All right, that's funny.
Well, fellas...
And I have a sense of humor. What can I...
But I don't want to change the subject, but I just wanted to refer back to what you were saying from the very beginning, Mark. You said you got that article, the one that you opened the program with, from Ynet. It's a Jewish website, right? Is that spelled, I'm writing this down, is that spelled W-H-I-N-E?
Nope, it's the letter, it's just the no, it's just the letter Y.
Oh, the letter Y, it's not wine, it's not wine.
No, not
okay.
WineNet, no. That's very good. Yeah, no,
Thank
Ynet.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah, it's a very interesting article, and unfortunately, like I said, this is going to get picked up, and this is going to be used by the likes of Alex Jones and dare I say some of the hosts on RBN and probably the individual who I referenced earlier that I will be taking to task this week in an upcoming piece that I'm planning on releasing. So, guys, here's the issue.
Let me say something. I've actually read that book. Unfortunately, I purchased it, but it is really. Let me say this first of all. I had read a previous book by that author, Mitchell Bard, and I was using some of the material from his book, from his previous book, in working on a new book that I'm working on. And it's kind of funny because I had dictated into a tape recorder some of the things that Bard had written in his previous book, and when I was playing the tape back for myself, I kept finding myself interrupting the quotations from his book with snorts of derision and disgust. And I'd find myself swearing and saying, "Oh, this is such a bunch of blank, blank, blank." The guy is really over the top. So then when I heard about this new book called The Arab Lobby, and I heard the name of the author, I said, "Oh my God, he's at it again." And
if there is an Arab lobby, they're still waiting in the lobby.
That's right. I mean, in fact, they haven't even gotten in the front door.
That's right.
But the book itself is quite over the top. I think he's, the book is so sensationally and yet at the same time so deviously written that it will be impressive to impressionable and naive people.
Absolutely.
And it will, as you predicted, I think, it will become a tool in the hands of people who should not have megaphones and microphones and access to the Internet.
How long, Mike, I want a prediction from each of you. How long before this guy winds up on Alex Jones's show?
He's probably already scheduled.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Alex Jones, he probably peed his pants when he heard that this book had been released. He said, "Oh, my God, this is what's going to save me. All these people out here who think that I'm working for the other side here, that I have a respected author, this is going to save me." I guarantee it.
The fact is, that the why are we even discussing the Arab lobby? Because even if there is an Arab lobby, it doesn't have any influence in comparison to what I like to call the Jewish lobby. Some people like to call it the Zionist lobby.